What's happening, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my advanced look at the Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Omnibus from Marvel Comics. So let's get started. Before getting started, I want to give a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on December 13th. And speaking of direct market, that's exactly what we're looking at here. This is the direct market cover by Lionel Francis Yu. On the left-hand side is your standard edition cover by Steve McNiven, who's actually the artist of the War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha. Everything else underneath the dust jacket, though, is the same. So, let's bring it back to this. Here we have the War of the Bounty Hunters. Now, this has been previously collected before in a series of trade paperbacks. Matter of fact, it's these right here that I've been over on the channel. I went over all of these on the channel separately. Now, the issue with the trade paperbacks is that the series are separated by their ongoing series. So the story arcs are separated. Whereas this, we're going to find out how well this is mapped, because I think they did a really good job. Let's look at a spine down here. This is a picture by Steve McNiven, and that is Jango Fett. I'll explain what that means here in a little bit. Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. And you can tell, like, it's a lot of traits to put in there. And I believe this is the beginning of the trilogy of stories. This is the War of the Bounty Hunters, then there's the Crimson Reign, and I cannot remember what the next one is after Crimson Reign is over. Here's the back of the book right there. The ISBN, rated teen, Lucasfilm, Disney, Marvel, and the retail price of $100. Everybody wants Han Solo. That is correct. This takes place after the events of Empire Strikes Back. Underneath the dust jacket, we have this image, and this is closer to the things that you're going to find inside of the book right now. I believe this is drawn by Luke Ross, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to crack this open, talk about the story. I'm going to talk about Alpha, the Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunter Alpha, issue number 1. And that is what kicks off this event. Talking a little bit about what each of the characters' roles are within this story as well. So not really diving into spoilers. It's weird to talk about this because this takes place between Empire and Return. So most of you know what ends up happening to Han Solo and Boba Fett and all these characters. But it's still fun. You know, getting there is half the fun. Alright, cracking it open, minor spoilers. Let's go ahead and start. Alright, cracking this book open. Here is your end paper. War of the Bounty Hunters. Very epic. And here are all the credits. War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha, 1 through 5. Jabba the Hutt. Forlom and Zuckuss. Bosch. IG-88. Star Wars 13 through 18. Star Wars Bounty Hunter 12 through 17. Darth Vader 12 through 17. Dr. Aphra. Uncanny Omar already trying to talk pretty one day. Dr. Aphra 10 through 15. But this also collects the director's cut, or the Bounty Hunters Alpha director's cut, or material from that. But this is all the series that are collected in here. And one thing to take note is that this is not the way that it's mapped. It doesn't separate them in the chunks, which is the way the trade paperbacks are read. So we are kicking it off with the Alpha issue, Precious Cargo. Sure, most of you already know what that is. In case the two of you that are watching have not seen Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, this gives you a quick recap as to what happens at the end of that story. And pretty much, Han Solo owes money to Jabba the Hutt. And Jabba the Hutt's this big gangster in Tatooine, and the Empire has put him in carbonite. And it is up to the bounty hunter, Boba Fett, in his Slave One ship to take Han Solo and then get paid for taking Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt. So that's where things get a little complicated because we don't see this story. This is not in the movies. This is just part of the comics, and since this is all canon now because it's all under the Disney and Marvel era, this, I guess, could very well have taken place. So here we have Boba Fett contacting Jabba's palace. This is Bib Fortuna, and he's telling him, hey, I'm on my way, get those credits ready. But nothing is ever simple, as Boba Fett states. See, the carbonite isn't really used to put people in there. It's just what the Empire used. It was a trap set by Darth Vader and, of course, Boba Fett. And it starts to melt. So that means that eventually the carbonite will go away and Han Solo will be free. So Boba Fett says, look, it's going to take a little longer. He has to make a detour. He goes to Nar Shaddaa, where he ends up talking to this doc right here. This is Doc, what is his name? Raynor. And he's like, yeah, I can help you, sure. But you're going to have to pay me up front. And Boba Fett's like, yo, I can't pay you up front. Come on, we've known each other for a long time. And Raynor's like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you to pay me up front. Or you can take care of a problem for me. You can go and fight in the pits, because I lost some money to this one fighter, and you can kill her for me. So Boba Fett thinks about it. And he's like, all right, you front the money, and I'll go and enter. The only thing he's worried about is his costume, because everybody recognizes that as the bounty hunter Boba Fett. So Doc Raynor decides to use this special paint that will go away after a couple days and just paint up his costume to make him look like this. And he goes by the name Django. That's how he enters this particular match. One by one, he takes care of all the contestants. He does have a flashback to that particular moment from episode 2. But eventually he gets to the lady that is the top dog, the spider creature that wants to suck the life out of him. And of course, we know Boba Fett's going to end up winning. It is War of the Bounty Hunters. So Boba Fett ends up winning, and he decides to go back to Doc Raynor. However, we see a scene where someone has stolen the body of Han Solo. And nothing is ever that simple. So Boba Fett finds Doc Raynor's body right there. And Bib Fortuna and Jabba the Hutt are wondering, yo, where's Han Solo? What's going on? Now, that's what really begins the War of the Bounty Hunters. But why is there a war? That's explained in this issue. Now, when reading this, I had read these in trade paperback. I thought, I wonder why they put this Jabba the Hutt issue here first. I would have put it somewhere after Bounty Hunters 12 and Darth Vader 12. But I guess it makes sense here. So here we have a flashback of a story of Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. But this also lets you know who puts out the bounty. And I guess it makes sense. Because from the other issues, you find out who puts the bounty out that way. This actually states that Jabba the Hutt is the one that has put out the bounty on Boba Fett. Because he wants Han Solo. And he feels like he's been betrayed by Boba Fett because he got some bad information. Feels like Boba Fett has just gone out there and sold Han Solo's body to the highest bidder. But that's not really what's going on. Through these pages, you get to find out exactly what's happening. Each one of these characters, each one of these ongoing series plays a big role in this. Well, I don't want to say big. Some bigger than others. You have Valance right here with the Bounty Hunters. And they are after Boba Fett because Valance remembers Han Solo and their past together. And he wants to get him back, and he wants to go after Boba Fett because now there's a bounty on him. Of course, that's why it's the Bounty Hunter story. Then we have Darth Vader, and this explains over here why Darth Vader's all jacked up. It's pretty much the Emperor showing him, who's boss? Vader, you still belong to me. Now, when Vader goes under and he starts getting fixed, he starts getting flashbacks, and he finds out that Han Solo's body has been stolen. So, to him, the body belongs to the Empire, and he wants him back. There's this flashback scene here with Han and Darth Vader. Darth Vader 13 immediately taking place after issue number 12. I like that that's mapped right there. And more you get to see the clues laid out as to who is really behind everything. Then we get to War of the Bounty Hunters number 1. And something you may have noticed is that, yes, Star Wars is right here. It's that Dr. Aphra isn't collected before this. Well, Dr. Aphra actually takes place a little bit after this. And I like the way that this is this places the Dr. Aphra issues. So in issue number 1 is where you get to find out how Boba Fett finds out there's a bounty on him, where Han Solo's body is, who stole him, and who the Crimson Dawn are and how they play a big role in this, and how all these characters are about to meet each other at this place called the Vermilion. You find the little one-shot right here of some of the bounty hunters, and some are better than others. There's the Dr. Aphra issue, finally Sana finding out that someone has taken Han Solo, and he plays such an important part because Sana realizes how big of a part Han Solo plays in all of this. He's always at the center of everything, because Aphra herself doesn't know why they want to go and rescue him, but they do. I love the way that there's a particular issue in here of Dr. Aphra, because we know that, you know, she has ties to Darth Vader. They haven't seen each other for a while. So there is a meeting. By the way, the issues right here of War of the Bounty Hunters, yes, these right here, these are all drawn by Luke Ross. And Luke Ross's artwork looks a lot different than the style I've seen him use over the years. But there's a huge bidding war. There's a fight between Darth Vader and Lady Kira. And the way that this is mapped out, you get to see the fight in issue, I believe it's issue number 3 of War of the Bounty Hunters. But immediately you get to see the fight through the perspective of Dr. Aphra, who again is in hiding from Darth Vader. She does not want Darth Vader to know that she is at the same place that he's at. There's a huge brawl between Boba Fett and Chewbacca in here. Lando reminding everybody, we cannot use our freaking lasers or they will kill us all. I love that all these characters are together. You see the Hutts together here. There's a bidding war going on as to who gets Han Solo's body. Meanwhile, Luke is nowhere to be seen. Now, there's an amazing 2-part story that goes from Darth Vader into Star Wars, and I'm glad that they mapped it properly here, because it's a huge chase scene. And it really would have been so bad if you had broken up the stories like they were in the trade paperback. So to satisfy the curiosity of those people out there, this is mapped great. They put a lot of thought into this. Do I agree with everything that's mapped out the way that it is? I probably would have put a couple of the one-shots after War of the Bounty Hunters number 5, but that's just me. That's just some small nitpicking. And I think everybody has their own reading order. For what it is, I think they did a really good job mapping this one. It's not like things like King and Black. I thought they did a really good job putting a lot of thought into this and the reading experience of the people purchasing it. Because while they could be read separately, I think it definitely adds to the story to be reading them like this, going from Star Wars to Darth Vader, going from Bounty Hunters to Dr. Aphra, and then going back to War of the Bounty Hunters, and then we have the one-shots. Now, before we get to the extras, I did want to talk about the creative teams here. So Charles Soule is the main writer of War of the Bounty Hunters, but each of the ongoing series has their own writers, and the one-shots have their own writers, like the Jabba the Hutt was written by Justina Ireland, Rodney Barnes is doing IG-88, Alyssa Wong has been writing Dr. Aphra, but she also wrote the Bosch one-shot. Forlom and Succus was written by Daniel Jose Older, and they all have their own artists, like Bosch is drawn by David Baldeón, Forlom and Succus is drawn by Kei Zama. Now, Charles Soule is not just writing, of course, the War of the Bounty Hunters. He was also writing the Star Wars issues through here. Ethan Sachs was writing the Bounty Hunter issues here, the ongoing issues, and then, of course, Greg Pak writing the Darth Vader issues. So you have a whole lot of creators working on this with a bunch of artists and colorists, pencilers, inkers, letterers. Okay, we've talked enough about this. Pretty sure you get an idea of what this looks like and what it's about. Now, back here, this is the back matter, all the extras, like original artwork by Steve McNiven. I wish these had been splash pages instead of little thumbnails, just because I love his artwork, and we don't get enough internal artwork from him anymore. I wish that actually he had drawn the War of the Bounty Hunters issues, but he did the Alpha issues. These are the variant covers right here with newer characters. And they do a good job, by the way, of introducing these characters in case you're not following a particular series, whether it's Bounty Hunters or whether it's Dr. Aphra. And the toy variants that John Tyler Christopher has been doing for years now. I think you've just come to expect those. I wonder if they've made toys of some of these characters. Babstar's take on Dr. Aphra, Sana, War of the Bounty Hunters. And then you have headshots here. Giuseppe Camuncoli doing those. And wanted posters. Quick little handbook back here of the Bounty Hunters. That's another variant. And some more variants. These are the Crimson variants, I think is what they're called. So they're all red because Crimson Reign is the next story arc after this particular omnibus. This one here has 864 pages. Let's check out that binding. This is printed at the Donley printer. And there is that eye. It is sewn binding. That's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you are picking this up, if you hope they collect this era of Star Wars in omnibus format, what other Star Wars omnis you want to see. Would love to know all those comments down below. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, which we start at $1. We have different tiers. And we are also on Spreadshop, where you can get our logos and t-shirt designs on t-shirts. Why? What else would t-shirts design be on? Oh, wait. Stickers, hats, mugs, things like that. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. May the Force be with you.